Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to DeeLee Plus. My name is Damian Lee, and today I've collected some stories from r/AmITheDevil, which I've seen you guys suggest a couple of times. As always, I'll read the post in its entirety, and then I'll give you my take. And if any of these stories resonate with you all, I encourage you to sound off in the comments below. With that out of the way, strap in, and I hope you enjoy. Posted to r/AmITheAsshole, January 2nd, 2026 by a now deleted account, and shared to r/AmITheDevil the same day by user FarSeason695. Am I the asshole for ruining my daughter's birthday? Throwaway because my daughter uses Reddit. I, 45M, have 3 kids, 16M, 14M, and 12F. This story concerns 12F. Now, my daughter's birthday falls on New Year's, so it tends to be disregarded, never on purpose, because it's between 2 big holidays, but we've always tried to make her feel special. My daughter is a known introvert and tends to spend a lot of time in her room, and if we're at a family event, she just sits in a corner on her phone. She's also very unconventional, in quotes, in the sense that she doesn't desire a lot of the things that are typical of girls her age. Me and my wife have tried to fix this and get her to open up more, but to no avail. The issue arose because when me and my wife asked her how she wanted to spend her birthday, she said something along the lines of, "alone with snacks in my room." This request wasn't outlandish for her, but spending your birthday alone doesn't seem like a good way to spend your birthday. It would also reflect poorly on us as the family likes big celebrations. So instead, we invited family over on her birthday for a birthday/New Year's celebration. It was a barbecue with lots of snacks, a projector that my brother brought, and a rented bouncy castle. I thought she would realize that this was better and a more productive way to spend her birthday, but I was wrong. She was miserable the whole time and just sat in a corner. When everyone left late at night, she started screaming at me and my wife about how we ruined her birthday. My wife did most of the scolding and she was sent to her room. How could we ruin her birthday if her plans were just bed rotting? She was also mad because she didn't get the gift she wanted, which was a hot chocolate machine. She's the only family member who drinks hot chocolate, and she's not 50, so we got her something else that we thought she would appreciate more. This morning, she ignored all of us, including my sons who are on our side because they think she's being ungrateful since the party was great. I was just trying to make her birthday special. Am I the asshole? I don't even need to mince words. Yes, you are the asshole. She told you exactly what she wanted for her birthday, the gift she wanted, and the kind of celebration she wanted, and you steamrolled all of that because you wanted to keep up appearances. I mean, they literally write, "it wouldn't look good on our family." It's also really funny to me that the punishment she got of like, "go to your room." Yes, thank you. That is what I've wanted this whole time. Thank you for giving, she received the punishment already of enduring this barbecue big birthday party/New Year celebration she did not want to do for her birthday. Thank you for sending me to my room. I'm gonna kind of hammer this home because I feel like it's important. Literally nothing of this party was a party for the daughter, right? And it doesn't even have to be just the party. Earlier in the story, when OP is describing the personality of this daughter, she's an introvert. She prefers to keep to herself. She doesn't like big gatherings. She has, in quotes, unconventional interests for someone her age. And they're like, "well, we're trying to fix this." There's nothing to fix. She has her own personality. She has her own interests. And it doesn't matter if you feel like this is typical for her. It reminds me of a story we read on the channel a while ago about a girl who didn't like the color pink. And her grandpa's girlfriend was really trying hard to get her to like pink and thought it was the mom's fault that she didn't like pink. And it's like, no, kids can have their own tastes and likes and dislikes. And so when the kid tells OP what she wants for her birthday, she's like, "I just want to be in my room. It's my safe place. I want to just unwind with snacks and chill." You hear that, you go, okay, let's throw a giant barbecue because, what's the family gonna think when they see you hanging out in your room? It sucks. It's not your birthday. You're between Christmas and the New Year. And I'm sure you guys already did a Christmas party. Let her spend her birthday the way she wants. And I'm kind of an introvert. I have a very finite social battery. the most I will get for like a gathering, and not like a big party. Like I can hang out with friends, and I can like handle a big event. Like I do Halloween Horror Nights every year, but once that event's over, I'm spent. You know what I mean? But I also get quiet. I don't like big gatherings. I don't like having to go through and, you know, I don't have much to say. I'm just chilling. If I'm not talking, it's not because I'm not enjoying things. I just, you know, I'm chilling. I'm just observing. This is one of those posts to me where as this kid gets older, they're going to see another Reddit post, which is, it's like, why does my daughter not want to contact me? Well, we can look back at, you know, the track record and see why. And get her hot chocolate machine, damn it. When did you have to be 50 years old to enjoy hot chocolate? It's not an old person drink, it's delicious. It's a wintertime treat. Next post. Originally posted to Am I the Asshole, September 16th, 2025 by Scrump Liquor, and shared to r/AmITheDevil, September 17th, 2025 by KindleFan12. Am I the asshole for going on a family trip right after without my daughter who started college? So I, 52M, just got off the phone with my daughter, 18F, and I think I made her cry. I feel bad, but I also don't understand exactly why. Any advice would be appreciated. A few months ago, I began planning a surprise trip for my wife's 50th this October. I thought it would be a perfect time for a little getaway, as we've been raising children together for the past 20 years, and haven't had much alone time. My oldest, 20F, has been in college for a few years now, and this year my middle child just left the nest for college too. This leaves just my youngest, 15M, at home, and I figured it would be okay to leave him to fend for himself for a bit. The issue started when I decided where we would be going. My wife and I have been wanting to visit Portugal for a long time, and so I thought that would be the natural choice. But my middle daughter has also expressed a desire to go to Portugal in the past, to the point where her and my wife had discussed taking the trip together. I figured that going on a trip without my daughter would be okay, since this is just a week-long thing between my wife and I. About a week ago, I decided I couldn't keep the trip a secret anymore. So I told my youngest about it. He told me that he wouldn't be comfortable staying at home alone for a week, and after some consideration, I decided that it would be okay if he came along too. I don't want him to be left alone for so long, and I think it might be nice to get him some travel experience. I managed to convince him to keep the trip secret from his mother, but not from my oldest. I hadn't told my oldest prior, because she has a very busy schedule. However, upon learning about the trip, she managed to take the entire week off of work, which is practically a miracle. I of course said she could come along too, as this is such a rare opportunity. This, unfortunately, means the only person in the family not coming is my middle daughter, who is the one who really wanted to go to Portugal. So I called her and told her about the trip. I didn't expect her to take it well, but she took it really not well. Once I filled her in on all the details, she got really quiet, and I think she started crying before wordlessly hanging up the call. Afterwards, I was worried she was going to tell her mom about the whole incident, which I cannot have. I really want to surprise her with this. And so to remind my daughter that it's a secret, I messaged her, "Good to chat. Again, it's a surprise, so don't mention to mom. Love you." The trip is happening right before her midterms week, and she's out of state, so there's really no way she could come along. I just hope she'll come to her senses and calm down, as at this point there's really nothing to do. I expected more emotional maturity out of her, I guess. I think she's being a bit of a spoiled brat, honestly, but I also understand that something like this could really ruin our relationship, and that's the last thing I want. What should I do? I am struggling to understand what about this makes her a spoiled brat, that she had understandably sad feelings that she's the only one in the family who can't go on this trip to the one place she really wanted to go, and everyone else in the family gets to go. Is that what makes her spoiled? Like, she didn't yell at anyone, she didn't scream, she didn't immediately go tell the mom. She cried and hung up to process how she felt, and that's, I don't know how that can, constitutes someone being spoiled and emotionally immature. What are you talking about? I hope the mom is like, no, I'm not going to Portugal without, my middle child, because they've talked about it together. I really hope that's what ends up happening, because the OP here is got the emotional intelligence of a slab of concrete. And I'm sure OP is going to be absolutely shocked. What do you mean you don't want to go on this trip? We're excluding one of our children. So? Why are you being so spoiled? Really, the problem is that OP turned what was supposed to be like a getaway to celebrate him and his wife and her 50th into a family trip, and then excluded a member of the family. That's the problem. And that doesn't make the middle child a spoiled brat with zero emotional maturity. It means that she is rightfully hurt to hear, hey, we're all going to this place you really wanted to visit. Deuces. It's not a nice thing to do to someone. And I'm shocked that this OP can't get it through his skull to see that. It's ridiculous to me. It's either a couple's trip or it's a family trip. You have to choose. Next post. Originally posted to r/AmITheAsshole, April 8th, 2024 by Educational Bill 8875, and shared to r/AmITheDevil, October 26th, 2025. Am I the asshole for thinking my wife's discipline is too harsh? My wife and I have 4 kids, 13-year-old twins, 8-year-old, 4-month-old, postpartum depression with our last baby, and she often struggles, and a sense of her not being able to turn her brain off. She's getting better, but she's still snappy at times. I currently work 12-hour overnight shifts 5 days a week, and she works 20 hours a week from home. Due to this, she has the kids constantly, and she's very, very touched out. Ever since she gave birth, our older 3 have been over the top clingy and seem to be reverting back to the toddler stage. Like our daughter, one of the 13-year-old twins, earlier asked my wife how to plug in the microwave. Or all of a sudden, our 8-year-old is asking his mother to help him find clothes and tie his shoes for him again. It's a desperate cry for attention. We are all in therapy, both individual and family therapy, and the therapist is helping us work through it, but it seems to be getting worse. Like, we can't even plan a family outing without the kids, without the 3 older kids either gripping onto their mother or walking so close in front or behind her that they're tripping her and refuse to watch out when told. So it has absolutely been hell, but like I said, we're trying to work through this with therapy. Well, 2 weeks ago, my wife implicated a rule that no one was allowed to talk to her when she had her headphones in or when she's taking a shower. As I'm sure you guessed already, the kids were even bugging her endlessly during those times, and my wife stated she, quote, needs a fucking break in silence and for people to stop hanging off her arm. She even snapped the other day saying, can none of you do anything for yourselves? No? Why don't I wipe your asses for you too while I'm at it? Because our son, 13-year-old twin, asked where his cup was instead of moving the coffee pot to look for himself, and then asked her at the same time to make him mac and cheese, despite knowing how. Because yours tastes better. She was in the middle of feeding the baby, so she snapped. Anyways, now no one is allowed to bug her under any circumstances when she's showering or when she has headphones in. Maybe once a week for the headphones. Showering every other day for maybe 10 minutes, so it's not a huge ask. Anyways, I get a text from my son earlier saying, Mom is grounding us and taking our stuff away for a week, and then 0 response. I go home about an hour later and my wife is livid. All the kids' electronics are piled on the counter and the kids are in their bedrooms with the door shut. I asked what happened and she said she went to take a shower and the kids came in 5 times in a 10-minute period, so she grounded them from everything for a week and sent them to their rooms. I feel she's being too harsh because I know they just want her attention. Now she's pissed at me for making her feel bad for needing a fucking minute to herself. Am I the asshole? So if this is r/AmITheDevil, the answer is obviously yes, he's an asshole, but let's talk about why. Now, I've never had to experience the stresses of motherhood, which is shocking to some of you, I'm sure. But the dad works, he said, 12-hour overnight shifts 5 days a week. So that's 60 hours a week. The mom works 20 hours a week from home. However, what he is not accounting for is the actual workload it takes to be a parent. Because that is 20 hours on top of taking care of the kids, making sure food is cooked, laundry done, rooms are clean, newborn child, so on and so forth. There is no time off. She's taking a shower maybe every other day, and you don't see a problem with that? You don't think maybe she's like a little on edge? I was actually talking about this story just now with my mom because I wanted to get her perspective since she had 2 kids and has the parenting perspective that I don't have. And she described being touched out in a way that I thought was really succinct. She was like, Imagine you have to go to the bathroom and one of the kids climbs on you, or you gotta wash dishes and one is crying and holding your legs. And my mom personally never really got touched out except for one time in her memory. And it was when my brother was 1 and I was 3, and both of us are little kids wanting to be held and comforted. And my mom was sick, my brother was sick, I was sick, all 3 of us had a cold. And it's not just the wanting to be held, it's, you know, they want to be held and they're crying and you can't put them down because then they're going to cry more because they want to be actively held, or, you know, you can't do anything without someone actively clinging onto you 24/7. And that just made me think about the wife's perspective even more in the story. Of course she's going to feel overwhelmed. This guy's an idiot. Next post. Originally posted to r/AmITheAsshole relationships on February 16th, 2025 by throwaway 070607 and shared to r/AmITheDevil September 5th, 2025 by Far Season 695. Am I the asshole for breaking up with my girlfriend over 4-leaf clovers? Throwaway because my now ex knows of my main account. Some background. I, F21, and my now ex-girlfriend, F22, have been together for 2 years. And last spring, we decided to go on a 4-leaf clover hunting date. She didn't find any, but I found 3 of them. Ever since I was young, I've had special luck with finding them. I have a collection of them, actually. I find them without even looking. M, my ex, has also been searching for 4-leaf clover since she was young, but she's never found one, ever. So naturally, I brag about it. It's always been like a fun little playful thing between us. I'm just luckier than her, I guess. Anyway, to yesterday. The problem. We went on our 4-leaf clover date again, and within the first 10 minutes, she finds her first ever 4-leaf clover. We cheer, and I take her picture with it. I'm happy for her, but I'm also upset because I wanted to have been the one who found the first one. It's my thing. We keep looking for another 10 minutes and I find one, so I hate life a little less. I found another. She cheers for me and we move on, looking at different clover patches. This is where everything goes to actual hell for me. I hear her yell excitedly and I think she's just found another one. I tell her cool and move on. She runs up to me and shows me a fucking 6-leaf clover. I just stare at her. I grab it out of her hand. What the fuck? How does somebody who's never found a 4-leaf clover find a 6-leaf clover? Those odds are literally insane. I look at it closely to make sure she's not either lying just to get at me, or that she's not stupid and it's actually just 2 clovers stuck together or something. But no, it's actually a 6-leaf clover. I'm actually so pissed. Why did she get to find the 6-leaf clover? Hello? Who finds a 6-leaf clover? So anyway, I tell her that's insane and I'm taking it. She gets sad and says, nuh-uh, she found it, it's hers. We start arguing about who deserves the clover. I tell her I do because I'm a veteran clover hunter and deserve this to be in my collection. She goes on about it being sentimental or something. She does that stupid manipulation tactic where she starts fucking crying to make me feel bad. It's bullshit, honestly. I tell her to suck it up. I'm keeping the clover. She huffs and wanders off to the car in tears. Whatever, she was being ridiculous. I take my time and look around some more and find 2 more clovers. I got bored and decide to leave and to see if she's done pouting. She sat in the fucking back seats with her arms crossed. I tell her to stop being dramatic and get into the front seat. She fucking snaps. She starts screaming, calling me all sorts of nasty names. She said I'm being manipulative, controlling, all kinds of other bullshit. I have never in my entire life been called any of these words, so I'm not sure where she got it from. I just looked at her while she screamed and hit the back of my seat. She finished screaming like an idiot and I let a few minutes of silence go by. She asked me if I was going to say anything. I shrugged at her because, like, what does she want from me? She told me to go fuck myself and to take her home. I shrugged again and pulled out with her in the back seat. She lives a decent drive from the park where we went clover picking, so the car ride was tense and awkward. She would just randomly sniffle and it started to get on my nerves, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want to hear her bitch anymore. About 15 minutes into our ride, I decided I couldn't have this anymore. This isn't the first time this had happened. She's so selfish and never lets me have anything to myself, and never listens to my side of things. She always does so type of crying shit, And then she just wants me to be nice to her, which I am. I don't know. So anyway, we're 15 minutes into the ride and I speak up and tell her I think we need to break up. She lets out a noise like scoffing at me and I didn't like that, so I just decided to give it to her. I told her how I think she should have given me the clover because it was the right thing to do. And she's incredibly selfish for not wanting to give it up and see me happy. She stayed silent until we got to her house. As she was getting out of the car, she told me that I'm the biggest asshole that she's ever encountered, and she can't believe she let herself love me, blah, blah, blah. I'm not an asshole. I don't think I am. I told my friend about this and he thinks we're both assholes, so I don't know. I need more opinions. Update, I gave the 6-leaf clover back. It's been a few days and a lot has happened. I've read all the comments and appreciate the genuine feedback I've gotten and realize I am, in fact, the asshole. I think a few of you went way too far. I had a few people actually DM me with how hateful and harsh you were in your efforts to make me see that I'm the asshole. But those of you who called out my problematic behavior and recommended I look into therapy are appreciated. I personally have a very complicated relationship with therapy and mental health, so I think I won't be getting therapy. I'll just try to be more aware of my actions going forward. I did tell my ex that she should maybe look into therapy. She didn't take it too well, but I hope she changes her mind. She's the type to believe in that stuff, and maybe it'll help her more than it would me. Anyway, yeah, I gave the clover back. It was hard, not gonna lie. Part of me wanted to keep it and never look back, but someone said I'd always look at my collection and know the 6-leaf one wasn't mine, and they were right. I want my own 6-leaf clover, not one an ex found. Also, and for the people who said they'd hope I'd never find another 4-leaf clover, fuck you. I found another one yesterday. I think this might be the most insane story I've read on the channel thus far. And like, we've read a saga, we've read some pretty, out there people. This is remarkably insane. That being said, this is so ridiculous it has to be rage bait. I'm almost refusing, my brain is refusing to believe this is a real person. But then at the same time, they have pictures of the 6-leaf clover in their replies to other people. So I'm like, did this happen? Did a relationship dissipate over a fucking clover? And no, it's obviously not the clover itself. It's the fact that this OP has their identity so wrapped up and intertwined with finding 4-leaf clovers for some reason. And the audacity too, to be like, well, I thought about it. I don't think I need any of that therapy stuff you guys are talking about. However, I did tell my stupid frickin' ex that she should get it when I was returning that clover that I should have kept. I don't get it, man. This story is 2 years old, so I'm sure you guys have heard this somewhere else, and this is my first time stumbling upon it. Again, my brain can't comprehend this being a real person, but if they are, how startling that we live in the same world. that is all over a 4-leaf clover and your obsession with being the one to find them. You throw away a relationship. And also, I feel like that relationship was going to go, down the gutter at some point with how they talk. Like, oh, she's doing that manipulative thing where she has emotions. Ugh. It's insane what I was reading here. Next post. Originally posted to r/AmITheAsshole on July 3rd, 2020 by a now deleted user, and shared to r/AmITheDevil September 29th, 2025 by Constantly Frustrated. Am I the asshole for wanting my stepdaughter to share with my kids? Very long, but I'm conflicted. I, 48, married my wife L, 43F, 6 years ago. L has a daughter, S, 17F, with her ex, M, and I have 2 daughters, T, 16F, and B, 15F. S and I aren't very close, but L is like a mother to my girls. S has not really gotten along with T and B, but they'll adjust. M and L share custody, so S spends weekends and school breaks with M. He's very well off. Think 7, almost 8 figures. When S turned 17, M made a deal in which he co-signed and paid insurance and down payment for a used Audi as long as S paid monthly payments, maintenance, and gas. S has been working 2 part-time jobs and is able to do it. M drew up a contract and asked L and I to sign as witnesses. She now has an Audi to use as she needs. T and B have been a little unsettled since S got her car, and have been pestering me about getting a car for them because T also has her license. Our family is well off, but not as rich as M. T has been asking to drive S's car just to try it out, and S has said no every time, going as far as locking her car keys in a safe in her room. To stop the chaos, I have told S to not drive when she's visiting us unless absolutely necessary, so that she doesn't flaunt her luxury in front of my daughters. S has been visiting L more during the summer because she spent more time at her father's house due to remote learning. B just got her learner's permit, and I've been teaching her because I'm working from home and have time. My family has 2 cars, and I've been teaching B in mine. Since S came home 2 weeks ago, T and B have restarted pestering to buy another car. B has also been asking if I can teach her in the Audi because it's different. S repeatedly said no. Last week, I relented and told S to give me her keys so that I could teach B. S said no. Again, I told her that as long as she was part of the family, she would have to share the family's belongings. She then started screaming at me that it was her car because she was paying for it. B started crying and T called S a selfish bitch. S kept talking about how she was paying everything for the car and nobody else could drive it because no one else was insured for that car. I told her that she would have to share because T and B were her family or she would be grounded. S yelled at me again and told me that I wasn't her parent. L was mostly taking S's side, and I'm still angry that she wasn't supporting me or my daughters. S packed up and left for her father's immediately. 3 days ago, L got a notice that M is filing for full custody. L is beside herself. I called S and told her that she was ruining her family and that she should apologize to her mother and I. She was sniffling the whole time, and then I hear M take the phone and tell me that we'll see each other in court. L is now angry at me for making her lose her daughter, but I still feel like S was being disrespectful under my roof. Am I the asshole? Of course. Of course you're the asshole. What are you talking about? It's her car, paid for by her. She's making the monthly payments, the insurance, the gas, the maintenance, like she's doing all of it. You have no claim to the car whatsoever. And instead of using this as a teachable moment for your own daughters of like, hey girls, you know, you're not entitled to her car, let's not do that. You're instead enabling that entitlement. And now you've ostracized your wife from her biological daughter. That's what has effectively happened. And again, sorry, I just need to kind of backtrack to the car. You want her to allow young, uninsured drivers to drive an expensive Audi? What happens if they get into an accident? Who's going to be responsible for that bill? Oh, well, it can't be T and B. They're just kids. I can already hear it. You know what I mean? What you wanted S to sacrifice is you wanted her to forego her own boundaries and her car that she worked 2 jobs to pay for and have the ability to use and drive, assuming this meant a lot to her to, you know, have the co-assignment, like all the bells and whistles to get it to happen. So those are the things you wanted her to be okay with, like losing, and your other daughters don't have to, there's nothing for them to lose. They gain literally everything and lose nothing from that situation. And because she put her foot down, which she should have, it's not being disrespectful in my opinion, what she has now lost is the relationship with L, and again, the daughters have lost nothing. Like, what do you, this is so blatantly favoring T and B, and I get it, they're your biological kids. I understand if you're like, well, you know, they're my kids, but S is your kid too. You married into that family, that is your child. And it sounds like M, the rich parent, he sounds like he's got a good head on his shoulders. He could have outright purchased a car and be like, here, take it, here's the keys, go crazy. But no, he didn't. He taught her the value of it. He said, hey, if you can keep the payments on this, I will sign this deal for you to get this car. She's paying her way, making the car payments, the maintenance, etc. She's learning what that means to have and maintain something expensive. That's building maturity. That's building her, you know, that's building a good adult, you know? I think I've said a couple of times that she's paying insurance. Just a correction, she's not. She's just paying the monthly payment of the car, the maintenance, and the gas. Still a lot of money. But other than the insurance and the down payment, she's paying for everything herself. It's possible that OP and the daughters have no legal right to drive it either. Other than it being like, yeah, no, it's mine, so you can't use it. Like, there would be no legal, like, you know, they legally can't drive it. I will say this is a great example to never issue an ultimatum. Unless you're prepared for both outcomes, never issue an ultimatum. He said, when you're in my house, you live under my rules. S said, noted. See ya. And he said, no way! I didn't mean that way. I was going to move on to the next post, but something just hit me from that story. And I totally overlooked it until I was reading over the post again to make sure I got everything. The stepdaughter had a safe in her room, which might mean anything she likes that she wants to keep, she's having to lock up to protect, because the like, oh, you have to share it with the sisters is so normalized in that house that she has nothing that is hers. Like, it sounds like anything that S would have is expected to be handed over to the stepsisters. I didn't even think about that until just now. That's, oh my God. That's gotta be, just feel like a, you know, S made the right choice. Just leaving the house is absolutely, because the OP is never gonna learn. OP is going to just assume that it's her fault. Like, he has to learn a lot of hard lessons. Next post. Originally posted to r/AmITheAsshole, July 26, 2019 by my1972pony, and shared to r/AmITheDevil, July 30th, 2026 by Fancy and Fab. Am I the asshole for using money we earmarked for our 6-month-old college fund to buy back the exact 1972 Ford Bronco I owned as a teenager? So, how to begin this? I realize that on paper I am totally the asshole, but when you dig deeper into my motivations, I'm hoping it's more of a gray area than anything else, and maybe even I did the right thing. When I was a teenager, my dad bought me a classic 1972 Ford Bronco. It was my true passion, and I don't recall a memory from high school that somehow doesn't involve that truck. Plus, my dad and I would spend hours and hours working on it together, and especially when we went through that father and son rough patch when I was a teenager, it was always that Bronco that brought us back together. I made a huge mistake and sold the truck when I turned 19, and my dad died of a heart attack 2 months later, so while not logical, I've always felt a karmic connection between the two events. We had a baby in early February. She is our first and the light of my life. My wife is doing well, but she's back at work, and she's realized that she hates all the daycares we tried and really wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and plus she's still very hormonal from delivery, lack of sleep, and breastfeeding, so she's having a rough time and is angry a lot. I guess I need to say this. 2 weeks ago, I was driving through our town's warehouse district and saw a Bronco that was pretty beat up but resembled mine. I stopped just for nostalgia's sake, and the owner came out and let me take a look inside. My dad and I glued a wheat penny under the dash as a sort of security measure, so I just sort of checked, and god damned if it wasn't my Bronco. I asked him if he'd ever consider selling it, and he actually said someone was on I-25 as we spoke from Colorado to buy it for $21,000. I freaked out and asked him if I could buy it right then and there for $23,000. He said if I could come up with the cash, yes. I've been procrastinating setting up a 529, so I had $12,000 in savings that my wife's parents had given us. I maxed out my credit card to Venmo, and my mom bought down a check for $4,000, and I fucking drove away in my old car. It was like a dream come true. Like a literal dream come true. It needs a lot of work I can't afford right now, but it's mine. Like in my driveway mine. Again. I can't even describe what a joy this is. My wife and her parents are furious with me. They feel I was deceptive. That a real man would have sacrificed anything and everything so my wife could go stay at home with his kids, and that's setting aside that they gave us the money for the college fund. My point is, my daughter is only 6 months old. We have 18 years to set up a college fund of hers, but this Bronco means everything to me, and if I wouldn't have acted, it would have been gone forever. Now it can be that same connection between me and my kids. To me, it's the literal meaning of happiness. Like I said, on paper, asshole. Whole story, gray area. How do you guys see it? Edit, had no idea this would go so one way. I guess I messed up. I talked with my mom, and she's basically going to buy the Bronco from me in order to refill the college fund and pay off the credit card. The $4K will be a gift, and she's going to give me whatever I need to restore it. She's always been awesome to me, and she's rather the money be spent now than wait for me and my sister's inheritance. Sorry to get everyone so mad at me. I was thinking of my emotions and acted badly. Edit 2. Are the mommy bailed you out comments really necessary? I found a solution and it's coming from me and my sister's inheritance. So it's not like I'm not paying for it on my own eventually. You made a several, a tens of thousands of dollar purchase without so much as speaking to your wife? Just a immediate impulse buy with that much money on the line? Half of that, by the way, $12,000 being money that wasn't for you, money that your wife's parents set up for their grandchild? Not to mention that, yeah, your mom totally bailed you out. She's kind of enabling you and it sucks. He tried to prime this story, the OP, tried to prime this story by telling us that his wife is very hormonal from delivery and, you know, she's having a rough time and gets angry a lot, so that must be why she's mad that I bought this car. Not that you spent your child's college fund on a beaten up truck. It couldn't possibly be that. No, not at all. That's ridiculous. Even with the bailout plan, he's still taking from his family. Like, that's coming out of his sister's inheritance as well as his, and he's not really even acknowledging that. He's like, well, you know, it's coming out of both me and my sister's inheritance, so, you know, what's the big deal? The deal is now your sister's gonna have less of an inheritance. That's the problem, is that you're still taking from people and you're not really even acknowledging it. Just in a fell swoop, by the way, the amount of dumbassery. Made an insane purchase without discussing it first. Maxed out your credit card without discussing it first. Borrowed money, I would argue stole the money without discussing it. And also put your kid's future at risk. 4 things in one fell swoop for a memory. And all of that's before, you know, you needed another additional amount of money to even make the thing usable. This is a priorities thing, man. Your priority, what you wanted, trumped what your wife wanted, what your in-laws wanted, what your daughter is good for your daughter. All of that was superseded by your want. And there's no amount of justification. There's no amount of mental gymnastics you can do that would undo what that action was, because the ultimate action is selfish. You couldn't stop for just a minute and ask your wife about, hey, 23K is a lot of money, but here's this thing, and I think this would be, like, you couldn't even once do that? It's probably because she'd say no, to be totally honest. And this might be a situation where he'd rather be, you know, do it and ask for forgiveness rather than permission, like one of those kinds of situations, but there's no forgiveness to be given here. This was a stupid thing to do. And now his sister's paying for it because the mom bailed him out. So it just sucks all around. And that's going to do it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like on this video and comment down below what subreddits you'd like to see me cover next. And until next time, my name is DeeLee, and I'll be seeing you.